Welcome to Breaking Boundaries. My name is Derek Skipper. Our guest today is Braxton. He's here to share his experience, strength, and hope. This content is for the recovering community. Braxton?
What's up, everybody?
So just give us how was your upcoming when you were younger? Tell us about your family, school, environment.
So straight out of being born, I was taken into DHS custody. My mom had some methamphetamine in her system, so I got taken into DHS custody. She had to go to rehab. The judge actually made a deal with her that if she was in rehab, that I could go to rehab with her. So I actually grew up from my earliest age in a rehab.
So you didn't go into foster care? How long did you spend in foster care?
Probably like a couple months or so, until I was 3. Then I went back. So like I was staying with my mom in rehab. She got out of rehab, got her own little apartment and stuff, and everything was fine. And then she got back on drugs, so I went into foster care with my mom's boyfriend's mom and dad. Actually adopted me, and so I was with them for a good while until I was like 6. And then my dad got out of prison, and I moved in with him. He was a real bad alcoholic. Was in prison for manufacturing methamphetamine. So
Did you ever see any of the meth being made?
whenever I got a little bit older, yeah, I was probably about 14 or 15, in and out of juvie at that time, staying with friends. I guess my addiction kind of started whenever I was like 10 or 11. I would drink from my grandpa's stash. They had a little bar in my foster parents' house, so I would kind of sip on the alcohol there at nighttime, and then I moved back in with my dad. And we moved to a side of town that was not real great. You know, there was a lot of violence, a lot of drugs.
How was you and your father's relationship?
It was good for the most part. When he was sober, when he was drinking, we would fight. You know, we would fight all the time. I would be trying to hit him, and he would try to pin me down. Just a lot of all-out battles, really, with my dad when he was drinking and using. But at the same time, I was smoking weed in his house, so like, you know, I mean, we kind of just clashed over that. You know, I clashed with him.
So he didn't allow you to get high or drink?
No, he didn't like it. He didn't like the smell of weed. He didn't want none of that going on in his house. Even though, like, he was like the type to like try to hide what he was doing. So like you'd never catch him with the pipe or anything, but.
And him and your mother were divorced?
Yeah, they was separated before I was born. So.
Did that play a factor in a lot of the troubles you had as a youngster?
Oh yeah, my mom was in and out of prison. My dad was in and out of prison, so I was kind of just bounced around. So I was like always angry at them. When I was with my mom, I was angry at my dad. When I was with my dad, I was angry at my mom. You know, I just wanted, you know, them to be cool and have like a family dynamic.
Did you blame yourself?
I think I did a little bit. You know, there's that question that goes through my head. Am I good enough? Like, why wasn't I good enough for them to just be? But now that I've got older, I realize that it's not nothing to do with me. It's their own problems, you know. Like, of course, relationships don't work out sometimes. So
Addiction plays a big factor in family, especially especially on the child.
yeah.
How were you in school?
Up until middle school, I was doing good. I had good grades. I got to middle school, like I said, we moved to a bad part of the neighborhood. A lot of drugs, a lot of fights, little hometown cliques. It's just a kind of really distracting, you know, when there's all this going on around you and there's parties and stuff.
Do you have any examples of acting out in school, drug use? How did school, were you favored or more or less, were you the popular one?
not necessarily popular, but I hung out with some kids that were, well known in the school for fighting and stuff like that. I actually got into a fight at the park one day, and me and this kid fought. We shook hands. He invited me over to eat, and I moved in with him the next day. And we lived like a block away from the school, so we would wake up every morning, smoke some weed, and then go into school and act like we owned the place.
Were you involved in gang activity?
Yeah, my brothers, my street family, they were in gangs. I kind of just hung out with all of them until I got a little bit older. I got kind of put on with this little clique called 6th Street. They just called themselves 6th Street. At this point, my brother's in prison for accessory to murder. The whole friend group that we had kind of just was either dead or in jail or kind of just off doing their own thing. So there's a lot of like gang activity in my town, but it's nothing like it's more like small town shit,
Do you think friends played a big factor in a lot of the trouble you had as a youngster?
Oh yeah, we would go car hopping together. We would go to the park and pick fights. We would steal weed from people. There's been a couple of times we would break into facilities like businesses and steal equipment and then sell it.
You ever been to jail?
Yeah, I've been to juvie 3 times. I've been to county once. First time I went was for stealing a truck. I was car hopping, found a pair of keys.
At what ages?
This was probably at 14, early 2019.
Do you think the jail system is reform or more of a just bad influence?
I think it's bad influence really because I found a lot more connections when I went to juvie. People. I'm like, okay, so you're in for this, so I know how to get, I know who to click up with when I get out,
Were you addicted to a drug?
Yeah, I was doing a lot of methamphetamine and smoking weed, drinking, and started getting into pills.
And this is all at the age of 14?
Yeah, mostly just meth and weed at the age of 14, yeah.
See, a lot of people don't realize how drugs and alcohol have influenced our
Younger generation.
the younger generation. And this is the generation that really holds our future. You know what I mean? So it's becoming a global issue, which it has been. It's just now more people are focusing on it.
And now with fentanyl, people ain't got really a chance. People are dying. It's either get into some type of recovery or you're on borrowed time.
I know when I was growing up, drugs were a lot different. You know what I mean? Marijuana was really marijuana.
Yeah.
Now you really have to worry about what you're smoking, where you're getting it from, who you're getting it from. Becoming a very sticky situation, to say the least. You know what I mean? So let's get back to the topic. What was your first encounter with drugs, alcohol?
My first encounter with drugs, I think, was one of my dad's friends. They were working on a house and they kept going off into the other room, and I heard the torches clicking. So that's like the first time I ever found drugs, because I would go in there after, see what they were doing, find the shit, and I'll smoke it.
Did they ever find out?
Oh yeah. My dad caught me one time. It's funny, he caught me with some meth, took it away from me, scolded me about it, and then smoked my shit. But yeah, I grew up around it, ever since I was a little kid with my mom and my stepdad and shit. I could always, there were people in and out of the house all hours of the day and night. They'd be gone for hours, I'd be at home by myself, eating dry ramen noodles and shit.
So you predominantly got high when you were by yourself, or you more of for myself, I couldn't get high by myself. I always thought I was a real drug addict when I was by myself getting high.
Yeah.
But were you more of a to yourself type of get high type of person, or are you more of a social?
I think on both. It just kind of depends on the mood I'm in. Sometimes I like to get high by myself in my piece. I want to be stingy. Sometimes I'm like, where's it at? Let's all break down. Uh, it kind of just depends on what I'm going through at the time, really.
What is your perception on friendships and addiction, friendships and recovery, and relationships in perspective of relationships with addiction and recovery?
Well, friends and addiction. I'm not sure how to explain that. There's people that are really cool, but they'll still turn their back on you, and steal from you and take from you. And I mean, it's just really all part of the game. When it comes to friends and recovery, we all kind of know, we all come from a similar background of addiction and running the streets, so we all kind of, it's a lot of respect within the community, there's a lot of, it's open, it's welcome for anybody, if you have a desire to get clean or to get sober, it's a welcoming community. You can make some good friends in recovery for sure.
And I agree. Like my thing is when you're in a new area and you're trying to get sober. I came from Jersey, coming out to California was not easy. But coming out here with the hope of getting sober and the want, that's really all I needed. Like the people you meet in addiction and recovery may not make it in your life, but you gotta look at this as an I program, You didn't come into this program for anybody else's sobriety but your own.
Yep.
So I just want to touch base more on now the other flip side of friendship. What about the relationship aspect?
Like intimate relationships, like a partner.
It could be intimate. I'm thinking more of just a intimate, well, you said it, an intimate relationship within a recovery. I don't really want to stress on the addiction part because I guess it goes hand in hand when you're in addiction. If you can, you will have a partner, but is it something that's beneficial for you to have a partner if you're in recovery?
I think right off the bat, no. Not for the first year or so, because in that first year or so, you're really learning how to control your emotions, control how you react to certain situations, building healthy boundaries, and just building healthy relationships. So right off the bat, it can be really tricky. If you come here with a partner, like you and your partner decide y'all want to get sober together, that's a good thing, but you got to be very careful about mixing your programs. You both got to work separate programs. Getting them programs mixed up is what I've seen take a lot of people back out to using. A lot of people their relationships don't last. I've seen countless people come in together and leave separate. So that's a loss right there.
That's definitely some knowledge right there. So I want to touch on, give us more of an example of what you went through in addiction that brought you into recovery.
Well, I consider myself a little bit of like what do you call it, a functional addict. I hate that term really, but after I went to juvie a few times, I decided that I wanted to do drugs and not go to jail. So I would
That's tricky.
yeah, it is. I would kind of tell myself I'm not going to use until my lunch break or whatever, and I wanted to keep a job. It never happened. So I would go get high on my lunch break. I would come back. I'd be nodding out at work, trying to help customers. They're looking at me funny. My bosses are looking at me funny. And my health just started to get really bad at some points. Like I think when I came in, I weighed probably like 110 pounds.
Wow.
I'm like 170 now, and that's only like
Congratulations.
that's like a year. That's like 60 pounds.
Yeah, it's a lot of weight.
It's a crazy thing, yeah. I was skin and bones. Really, I think the main thing that brought me was my health. No matter how much drugs I would do, I just felt like I was dying. I never got that feeling like, okay, I can get up and do this now that I'm high. So I think what was my breaking point was I started working in a pharmacy, and I was taking Percocets from people that I knew would get their refills from that pharmacy. And I was also getting pills off the street that were laced with fentanyl.
That's one thing people don't understand. Everything has fentanyl in it now.
Yep.
You can go to the grocery store and find fentanyl.
Yeah.
It's getting crazy, but I mean, it's like you're playing Russian roulette every time you want to get out.
Yeah. My grandma just recently overdosed from a fentanyl related incident. So.
Your grandmother is an addict?
Yes, pretty much everybody in my family, but my grandma, she was a pill addict for sure. And it used to not be so bad. She used to be able to, control it a little bit, but once that fentanyl started hitting them pills, it was all downhill from there.
And a lot of times you gotta realize your addiction starts with a doctor visit.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
yeah.
Like, opiates come in all types of fashion. And if you don't take control of the situation, it will take control of you.
Yeah, my love for pills came. I got my wisdom teeth taken out. They gave me like 14 hydrocodones, and I was done with them in 7 days.
That was a wise situation, definitely.
Yeah.
So what would you say about the influence somebody like your grandparents? Because I know that's pretty deep for your grandparents to be in addiction the way they are. And did that influence your road to recovery?
I think that at first I wanted to fit in with them. I wanted to be like my family, I wanted to fit in with my family, but they always looked at me as I'm the chosen one or whatever, we can't get him involved, like.
So wait, is that the chosen one or is it the black sheep?
Probably black sheep.
Okay.
But I always wanted to fit in with them. I'm gonna be like, yeah, I can smoke like y'all, I can do what y'all do. And then now it's like I just wanna show them that it's possible.
So you said something about fitting in. So what are some lies that you tell yourself in addiction and recovery?
In addiction, I would lie about just about everything if it involved money or some drugs. I would steal tools out of my dad's truck and then go try to sell them to him because he had kicked me out. So I would at nighttime go steal tools out of his truck and I would sell them to him for money and I would go buy drugs with that money. He's like, man, these tools look like my tools. I'm like, I got them from down the road or something.
They ain't my tools.
They ain't your tools, yeah. So, and there's a couple times he knew they were his tools. He kicked me out. I took his tools back and then left. You gotta get out of here, man. I'm like, oh shit.
You risk anything for a get out.
Yeah, and in recovery, sometimes I think the biggest lie I tell myself is I'm okay. Like I've had enough time where I'm recovered, I'm cured or whatever. I can go out and have a drink or I can do a little bit of this or a little bit of that one time. But that one time is always just gonna lead me to the next craving.
What's your DLC? Drug of choice. I'm sorry.
Methamphetamine and pills, mainly. Yeah.
What does meth, pills, and anything that you use to get out? What type of feeling did it give you?
The meth, it gave me just this feeling like I could get up and do anything. Like I didn't feel like I always felt like kind of tired and like my body was so heavy and shit. But then once I did meth, it's like, this is how I'm supposed to feel. Like, I have energy. Like, I can get up and clean, and I can get up and I just felt like normal, what I thought normal felt like. And,
like 5 days of no showering. And
yeah, and then
on that fifth day, you're like, oh, I smell soap.
Yeah, and then after a while, I just started, hallucinating and hearing shit, and so that's when I would stop, slow down on the dope, and I would pop a couple Percocets and sleep for a good while,
How long was your drug use? How long did it take from your life?
Approximately 7 to 8 years.
Wow, that's a long time.
Yeah, I was young.
And I would say, what are your goals, aspirations? What are you trying to do with your life now?
Now came out to California last year. Since then I've got my license. I've started college. I'm going to college to be a structural welder.
Congratulations.
Engineer. And I'm almost done with them classes. I got one of my certifications, so I'm hoping to go into the field hopefully before the end of the year, start working.
I wish you luck on that.
Yeah.
So, what would you say at this point? How has rehab changed your life?
It's really changed the way I think about everything, you know. When I first got here, I had these distorted thoughts of what reality really was. You know, when I first came out here, I thought that this was all a scam. You know, they're just gonna keep me for 30 days and kick me back to Oklahoma. I'm gonna lose my apartment. But it's all about finding the right program. Some of these programs only want your insurance money, but if you find a good program and you stick with it, you know, they'll look after you. They'll help you get the things that you need to be successful in your everyday life. But it's mainly changed the way that I think about myself and the way I think about other people. You know, in the game, so to say, you're in survival mode. Everybody's out to get you. You know, you got to watch your own back. But in this recovery community, people have got your back. You know, you don't have to be in survival mode. You can start to build a healthy, structured life, build healthy relationships with one another. You know, and do awesome stuff. There's so much to do out here.
Now, I have one other question. You've been great. I know you're part of the music community. I just want you to emphasize on how music has helped you in your recovery.
Music has given me an outlet. I have so many emotions bottled up. I have a lot of trauma from the years, a lot of things that I've done, a lot of things that I've been through. And writing music gives me an outlet for those things where I can get them off my chest without necessarily having to speak to somebody like a counselor or a therapist. It lets me take my feelings and emotions and turn them into art, and then if anybody questions it, I can say, well, it's just art, you know. Or it allows me to get those things off my chest so I don't act on those feelings.
And I think that's definitely the answer. Get off your chest so you don't act.
For sure.
So I just want to take this time and thank you once again for coming on the show. You were great. Braxton, I'm going to say your stories is spectacular. For anyone out there that wants to talk to Braxton, thank him for his share. I'm going to put his Instagram at the end of this. But for now, this is it. Thank you for coming. Braxton again, thank you. Please like, share, and subscribe. This is Breaking Boundaries. Derek. This is Braxton. Good night.